My name is Sam Tidrick-Schmidt, and joining me now is an absolute legend in the Oregon sports, Oregon football community, Mr. Kenny Wheaton. Sir, how are you today?
I'm doing good. Doing really good. How about yourself?
I'm doing excellent. It's a privilege to be able to speak with you. Before this conversation, you told me that you were spending some time training some kids, working with some youth football teams. Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing with the youth specifically.
Yes, I've been doing a lot. I'm here in Dallas, Texas, and I coach, well, currently, as we speak, I'm coaching 3 different football teams, a 4th grade team or 5th grade, and a 6th grade team, which is my son's team. So, and I train kids every evening and football and speed training. So I just love working with the youth.
If I can follow up with that, what about kind of being able to reach out to the next generation of young athletes and young men kind of speaks to you in a way that makes you so drawn that you're willing to coach 3 different teams?
It was the way I was raised. I give all my credit to my mom and dad. You know, growing up, you know, my 2 brothers and I, my mom and dad was always helping someone, and we didn't have much as a family, but they was always helping kids around the neighborhood, whether that meant buying shoes or my mom helping them with homework or feeding them. So, and that's just something that I grew up seeing and doing, and I instill that in my kids, and I just love helping kids. You know, football-wise, I say all the time, I wish I had someone that could have taught me the game when I was in Little League or junior high or high school. I would have been that much better. So that's what I'm trying to do, is give these kids that knowledge that I wish I would have had.
Especially with the way that the game has been changing in the last recent years, how valuable do you kind of see that mentorship role being in a lot of these young kids' lives? I see. It's huge. And I just don't say it to toot my own horn. It's, you know, looking at the kids, getting the feedback from parents, you know, feedback from kids themselves. You know, I have guys that's older that have come back and told me the major role that I played in their life and how I helped them. You know, so that's what it's about. You know, just to hear that thank you, or either just to see their face light up when something happened on the field in one of their games, something that we've already went over. You know, and I can't explain the feeling. On the phone with me now is Mr. Kenny Wheaton. Sir, let's take a trip back to when you were trying to decide where you wanted to take your talents and play college football. Of course, you became a Duck, and a legendary one at that. But what was your process in kind of deciding that Eugene, Oregon was the place you wanted to spend those 4 years of your life? Great
question. I started off, me being from Phoenix, Arizona, and I've always been a huge mama's boy, just huge. So for me, I've always wanted to play college ball, but it had to been Arizona State or the University of Arizona. And so I don't care. I had a lot of different colleges contacted me, but I just only wanted to go there so I could stay home. It sounds weird, but at the time I said, okay, I like Oregon for 2 reasons. Number one, I love their colors. They're like a Sprite can. So I was interested. The coach who recruited me, Coach Suler, he was just different. You know, he showed me that he really saw something in me. But I took a trip to Eugene, and it was snowing on my trip. So I remember telling my mom I would not go there. A kid from Arizona going somewhere where it snowed, that wasn't good. Arizona State didn't want me. They said I wasn't big enough. I wasn't fast enough. University of Arizona wanted me to play tailback, and I didn't want to do that. So, you know, Oregon was the place that I say, well, I know they want me, so I'm going to give that a try. So that's how that whole thing went.
You were no doubt embraced in the Oregon community. I'd like to take a look at the moment that if Oregon fans didn't know you before, everybody knew you then. It's a play every Oregon fan has seen so many times, but I want to rewind before that play, before that game. You wake up in the morning and you've got the Washington Huskies coming into Autzen Stadium. If you could, before we dive too deep into the exact moment, tell me a little bit about waking up and getting prepared to take on one of the best teams in the nation at the time.
Well, like you say, those guys was, everyone knew about the Huskies. Huskies was at the top, not just in the Pac, at Pac-10 at the time, but, nationally. So all week, it was just, I can tell it was something different. I was young. I didn't really get the rivalry. I really did, not being from there. But I can tell with the older guys, it's just a little bit different. So, for me, it was young, dumb, just want to get out and play. Yes, it's a big game. Hey, I can't wait till we get here. So that was my attitude. It was just excited, just wanting to play because we're playing against a team that, a lot of people didn't give us a chance to beat. So that in itself was enough for me to get up for the game.
Now I suppose we have to dive into the moment that rings true in all Oregon fans' ears and hearts. Anytime somebody goes to Autzen, they will inevitably hear the words, Kenny Wheaton's going to score, Kenny Wheaton's going to score. That entire play, everyone thinks of the moment where you run into the end zone, drop the ball, the whole team celebrates. But the entirety of that play, at what point did you realize that you were going to have a shot at the ball, you were going to have a shot to make a play? And when you were out there on the field, given that opportunity late in the game, especially as a young player, as you mentioned, what were you kind of thinking and feeling in those moments?
Well, for me, and I've said this from day one, is that I truly believe that I knew the ball was coming to me. They was going to throw it to my guy. From watching film that Thursday before the game, I told my roommate, every time they get in this set down near the goal line, they run this out. And I told him, I said, Jai Figueres, I said, hey, I'm going to pick it off. And he just looked at me and smiled and kept walking to the kitchen. But so the play for me, when they broke the huddle, that's when I knew I'm going to make this play. Now, I didn't know I was going to score a touchdown, but I knew that I was going to get my hands on that ball. And that was just due to film study. So, and the rest is history. I was just telling myself as they lined up, just catch it. Don't drop it. Just catch the ball, Kenny. It's all you have to do. And once I caught it, I was thinking score.
I wanted to touch on that. You say you were thinking score. There's a story kind of in the Oregon community that every single person on the bench as you were running down the field was telling you to go down. Is that true?
Yeah. And looking back, that would have been the smart thing to do. But again, I tell people I was 19. So a 19-year-old freshman at the time, once I caught the ball, I'm not thinking about stepping out of bounds, falling down, not once crossed my mind. Once I caught it was you score. That was always my mentality. When I stepped on the football field, I wanted to score from the defensive side of the ball. So, yeah, it didn't cross my mind at all. I should have, looking back, maybe, but I was thinking score.
That moment when you're able to cross the goal line, you have scored. You didn't listen to anybody on the sidelines. You're able to take it back. You're able to score the touchdown. The team piles on you in the end zone. You realize you're going to take down one of the best teams in the nation. How would you describe the emotion of the team around you in that moment?
Oh, the team went crazy. Once they, jumped all over me in the end zone, on the sideline, slapping my head, all the congratulations, seeing the coaches, and that's the two things that stand out to me was just looking at the coaches' face, how excited, how happy they were. I knew it was something big, it was something good, but all I can think about is let the time run out so I can go in the locker room and call my mom and let her know I just made an interception for a touchdown. That's where my mindset was once I crossed the end zone. I wanted to share that with my mom.
Joining me now is Kenny Wheaton, Oregon legend. So after this play, after this game, Oregon has made an imprint. They've made a mark. People are thinking good for the Ducks. But since then, there has been an incredible shift in how the University of Oregon as a football program is viewed, not just regionally, but nationally. Reflecting on the amount of change that has happened in the last 25 years, and that a lot of people do credit your single play to being a turning point moment in Oregon football, how can you reflect back and now looking at what the Oregon Ducks are as a team And how have you been able to kind of witness a lot of that growth?
Oh, I've seen the growth. I mean, I've seen the growth from looking at, the things that's built around Eugene, the hotels, the different, how it's grown, population. I've seen it just like here in Texas, wherever city I go to, if I have an Oregon shirt or Oregon hat on, people recognize Oregon. I walk around, I see Oregon gear everywhere, Arizona, Dallas, Toronto, Canada, wherever I've been, I've seen it. So that's the big difference. When I was going to school there, you didn't see anyone with an Oregon hat or T-shirt on outside of Oregon. So I'm just happy to be a part of it and, to know that I played a part of it.
Many people know you for a lot of the work you do with the youth, as we spoke about earlier, for this tremendous play you made for Oregon and how you definitely helped turn the Oregon football program around. 25 years later, how would you reflect on the years that you've lived, and how would you tell the story of Kenny Wheaton post the pick?
That's a great question. How can I put it? Let me take my time. It's been great. I'm going to kind of jump around, but I look at my kids. My son, he'll be 12 tomorrow. It's huge to him. He's on Instagram. He sees people posting this week, about his dad. He's watched the play 1,000 times. He's been to Eugene. My daughter, 15, she sees it. So to share it with my kids, for them to see that, I'm not just daddy, because to them, I'm just daddy, But now it's looking like daddy's pretty cool. Making that play, being a part of that team that year, it done wonders for me. I come back to Eugene to this day, 25 years later. I'll be there next week, and it's so much love. So, I mean, I just really can't find the words to tell you how much and how special, it has been, these last 25 years, due to that play. For years I struggled with the fact that everybody just assumed that's all I did was just made one play. So that was a huge struggle for me as an athlete, but I've learned to embrace it now that I've gotten a lot older, and just thankful for someone remembering me for something positive. So it's been great.
Kenny, I can tell you that, of course, I think of that play when I think of you, but I also think of the NFL career, the CFL career, and a lot of the work you're doing with kids now. You say you'll be in Eugene here shortly. I've personally heard a rumor that you will be making an appearance, I believe, at the Eugene campus Duck Store. Is that something that we can expect to find you at?
Oh, yes. I'll definitely be there the 25th, that Friday. So I'll be there. Hopefully I can meet a lot of the Duck family. For me, you never hear me say Duck fans. We're all family. I want to meet as many family members as I can, while I'm there. So I'll be there signing autographs, taking pictures, just meeting the family. So I ask all you guys come out, say hello.
Well, sir, I certainly look forward to saying hello. Sir, the very last thing before I let you get back to it. Oregon does play Washington this weekend. I was wondering if I could ask you, how do you see this game turning out?
I think it's going to be a tough game. Like always, those guys, they get up for us and vice versa. So it'll be a tough game because it's a Pac-12 game. But I see us winning. I have us winning by 7. And for me, I don't care if we win by 1. I just want the W. But I think we'll win by at least a touchdown.
I'm sure Duck fans will love to hear it. I love to hear it as well. Mr. Kenny Wheaton, sir, thank you so much for being willing to take the time to speak with me. I know I greatly appreciate it. I'm sure Duck fans will greatly appreciate being able to hear from you. On the 25th, make sure you go see Kenny at the Oregon Ducks. Sir, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate being able to speak with you, and I'm sure Duck fans greatly appreciate being able to hear from you.
Okay, you're welcome, and I thank you for reaching out and allowing me to come on. Thanks a lot.
Hewer, you're going to go back to throw the ball. Sets up, looks, throws toward the corner of the end zone. It is intercepted! Intercepted! The Ducks have the ball! Down to the 35, the 40. Kenny Wheaton's going to score! Kenny Wheaton is going to score! 20, the 10, touchdown! Kenny Wheaton on the interception! The most improbable finish to a football